it's Mariam Haruna Hussein again. Welcome back to this channel. Today I'm going to explore on probability sampling. But guess what? I have another surprise for you today. It is not a math trick, but it is a puzzle. Please, what I want from you is to decide your answer and put it in the comment section. Let's begin the puzzle. As you can see, the picture here shows Mr. A and Mr. B standing on a platform on the edge of a T. Mr. B is aiming at Mr. A with an arrow. Carefully examine the scenario and decide who will die first. Is it Mr. A that will die first or Mr. B that will die first? And please don't forget to subscribe this channel, give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section. I would like to hear from you. Let's begin our today's class. Today's class is on probability sampling and the types of probability sampling, which are simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. Let's see probability sampling. Probability sampling refers to a process in which the laws of probability, that is the laws of chance, determines which elements of the population to include in the sample. In a probability sampling, every member of a population has a chance of being selected in the sample, regardless of gender, age, education, qualification, and so on. The first types of probability sampling, which is simple random sampling. In a simple random sampling, every member of a population has an equal chance. I've said equal chance of being selected. Your sampling frame should include the whole population. I said a sampling frame. Let's see what a sampling frame is. A sampling frame is the source material or list of elements from which a sample is drawn. A sampling frame is the whole population or the source, or that is where we are getting our sampling from, and it is illustrated as the population, which is the target population under study, the target number of people or any item under study, followed by the sampling frame, that is part of the accessible target population. Mostly sampling frame is gotten from a population. Then the last one, which is a sample, that is the actual unit under study. To conduct this type of sampling, you can use tools like random number generators or other techniques that are based entirely on chance. A random number generator produces random numbers within a chosen range. An example of a simple random sampling, assuming you want to select a simple random sample of 100 employees in the company A. Let's say a company A. You assign a number to every employee in the company database from 1 to 1000 and use a random number generator to select 100 numbers. Another one, that is the second example of probability sampling, which is a systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is the process by which the nth item or member of a given population is selected. The first step is to arrange the items or individuals of the population in a defined way, and a random starting point is selected, and then says every nth item or member of the population is selected to represent the sample of the population under study. Again, an example of a systematic sampling, assuming all employees of the company are listed in alphabetical order. From the first 12 numbers as shown, you randomly select a starting point, number 2. From number 2 onwards, every third person on the list is selected, that is having a sample of 2, 5, 8, 11, and so on, and you end up with a sample of 4 people in this example. The next one is a stratified sampling, which this involves dividing the population of study into subgroups called strata with similar features. Example: gender, age range, income bracket, etc. This means you calculate how many people should be sampled from each group. Then you use a random or systematic to select a sample from each group. Either proportional or non-proportional sample can be selected. That is, if in a group of 10, 2 samples are selected, then in a group of 20, 4 samples will be selected. As shown in the illustration, group 1, which is my strata 1, group 2, second strata, group 3, third strata, group 4, third strata. In a group 1, assuming you have 10 samples, you select only 2 samples. Group 2, 10 samples, you select only 2 samples again. In group 3, if you have 20 samples, you select 4 samples. And in group 4, if you have 20 samples again, you select 4 samples. Another example of stratified sampling, assuming the company has 600 female employees and 200 male employees. You want to ensure that the sample reflects the gender balance of the company. So you sort the population into 2 strata based on gender. You use random sampling on each group, selecting 660 women and 20 men, which gives you a representative sample of 80. The last one, which is a cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is similar to stratified sampling, but in this case a large area of studies with scattered population is divided into smaller units. This smaller unit is called a cluster with similar characteristics, either country or region. Then select randomly a sample from each cluster. Cluster, it says, is similar to stratified sampling, but in a stratified sampling it deals with a large area of studies that is larger than a stratified sampling. If the clusters themselves are large, you can also sample individuals from within each cluster. This process is called a multi-stage sampling. That is, if the cluster again are large, then you have to divide each cluster into another clusters. Example of a cluster sampling, assuming the company has offices in 15 cities across the country, all with roughly the same number of employees in a similar roles, and you don't have the capacity to travel to every office to calculate data. You can randomly select 3 offices from these 15 offices. These 3 offices you selected are your clusters. This is the end of today's class. Thanks you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe this channel, put your comments and suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you and God bless you. See you in my next video. Bye bye.